If Rodgers were to get to a point where he's going to return, the team would have a QB controversy on its hands.
Welcome into the fifth quarter. Claudette Montana, Robin Lundberg here to break down some of the top storylines from NFL Sunday Week 6. And we got to start with the New York Jets, who got a big win over the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that was undefeated before this week. The Jets defense played spectacular, but considering what we saw yesterday, Robin, how good do you think New York could be if they still had Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, people are starting to dream, right? Aaron Rodgers was able to walk on his own power, so that means he's coming back this season, gingerly throwing the ball out there. But you see what the Jets were supposed to be with wins like this, led by that defense, who have now held down or gotten the best of Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Patrick Mahomes, which is really, really impressive. But here's the thing. For all the dreaming of Aaron Rodgers, and the Jets defense has certainly carried Zach Wilson thus far, if Rodgers were to get to a point where he's going to return, the team would have a QB controversy on its hands. Not because anybody thinks Zach Wilson is better than Aaron Rodgers, but in that scenario, we're far enough into the future where the Jets have carried this momentum to the point where they're likely contending in the playoffs. Could you then take the quarterback out to bring in a guy who is trying to rush back from an Achilles injury?
I think you could. It's Aaron Rodgers at the end of the day. I think that if the Jets still had Aaron Rodgers right now, there's no reason why they couldn't be undefeated. Two of their losses against the Patriots and the Chiefs, they only lost by a combined 8 points. Their defense is playing spectacular. They gave Patrick Mahomes a lot of trouble. Against the Eagles, they held them scoreless in their final 7 possessions, also picked off Jalen Hurts 3 times. They got playmakers on offense, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. Aaron Rodgers would only amplify that, and I think he would have closed out some of those closer games as well.
Meanwhile, the other undefeated team goes down as well, that being the San Francisco 49ers. The Cleveland Browns doing it without Deshaun Watson. And then people, because of all the hype around San Francisco and Brock Purdy, took shots at the 49ers quarterback because he was without Deebo Samuel and without Christian McCaffrey later in the game and didn't look as good as he previously did. So did Brock Purdy get exposed?
That's a hard. I feel weird saying that he got exposed when we were just praising him last week. I think that he did his job yesterday. At the end of the day, it was on the kicker who missed that 41-yard field goal at the end of the game. Obviously, as you mentioned, they lost McCaffrey and Deebo. Weren't able to finish the game with those two guys. Huge weapons for them, but that's going to happen. It's football. Guys are going to get hurt. I think what's important for Brock Purdy is to be able to step up and finish games and be a leader and be, a QB1. Only time will tell for me if he got exposed. We've only seen them lose 1 game this season, so not enough evidence for me yet.
Yeah, this is the lowest common denominator thing. Purdy got them in position to win the game. They could have kicked the field goal, or they attempted to kick the field goal. Kicker missed it. He didn't have his best game, but he was also playing against a great defense in the Browns. So, yeah, he wasn't at his best, and yes, some of his weapons were shelved in the process, but let's not get carried away. These sort of results happen in the NFL. That's why they say any given Sunday.
Well, another team that is shining in the NFL, the Miami Dolphins, they beat the Carolina Panthers. Carolina still hasn't been able to win a game this season. Really tough for them. But we got to talk about who is the real MVP in Miami. Is it Tua or Tyreek?
This is tough because generally it's the quarterback, right? And Tua's right at the top of the NFL in so many categories. But in this instance, Tyreek Hill is better at his position than Tua is at his position. I wouldn't put Tua in the top 5 quarterbacks, or if he is, he's right at the bottom of that top 5. Tyreek Hill is easily the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL. He's on my Mount Rushmore of best receivers I've ever seen, alongside Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens, and Randy Moss. And when you're talking about just being dangerous, the ability to take the top off the defense, the ability to get into motion, catch the ball on the move, and take off with that cheetah-like speed, there's never been anybody like Tyreek Hill. So I'm not so sure Tua is what we've seen if he doesn't have Tyreek Hill to throw the ball to.
Wow, Mount Rushmore. I love the enthusiasm there. I'm going with Tua. And just because he plays the most important position on the field, quarterback, also the numbers don't lie. He ranks number 1 right now among quarterbacks for passing yards, passing touchdowns, and passer rating. Also top 3 in QBR across the NFL right now. I think he's a difference maker. And if I have to pick one MVP from the Dolphins, I'm going with Tua.
Perhaps the most fun team in the league right now.